What is up, guys, and welcome back to another day with the AutoWorks. Lately we've been trying some experiments with electric spray guns, and I got one from a company here. On last video we did a Rust-Oleum paint job using this PHALANX electric spray gun. It's supposed to be an HVLP version, and we got pretty good results, but you guys wanted to see it with an automotive paint job. So what I've done today is I got some automotive base coat, a really pretty blue, and I got a hood prepped up. So what we're going to do is we're going to shoot this hood, and we're going to see if we can get good results for an automotive paint job out of this PHALANX HVLP electric spray gun. So let's get into it. Alright guys, so as you can see, I'm doing this outside in the elements. Well, actually I'm doing it in my shop, but I got the door open. So anyways, what I've got is this PHALANX electric spray gun. It's got the smallest tip possible included in the kit. And it's got an adjustment right here for the power, guys. I got 3/4 of the way turned up. And that's what we got as far as power and everything goes. So what I'm going to do is, we got a hood prepped up right here. And I'm just going to spray it, guys. And I do just consistent coats. See if we can get it to lay out really good. And then I'll mix up some clear coat. And we'll just see how great of a paint job we can get with this electric spray gun. So. Alright guys, so this was just a light first coat. We're just going to take it easy today. I'm not trying to go for anything crazy. This is just a test panel. I'm just kind of more curious to see how this thing lays everything out, and just to kind of play with it and get some adjustment and stuff. It does pretty good. Like I said, I'm messing with it kind of as I go to try stuff out. But one thing I do like about this one so far is you are able to actually spread out the pattern a lot more and not just dump the paint, which is pretty cool. I've been able to kind of dial it up or whatever. I can dial the trigger back, and I can actually adjust the settings up top right there to give it more or less power. So it's actually laid out more like just trying to do a light first tack coat, you know, which is kind of cool because usually you don't get that from electric spray guns. But all right, so I'm gonna do my next coat a little bit heavy. I'm gonna wait for this to tack up for a few minutes, and we'll keep going. Alright guys, so it's a little bit cloudy in here, and like I said, this is a test hood, so it's not perfect, but I am liking the way this thing is laying it out. I mean, it's not too bad for base coat. Like I said, it's just going to flash off and dough off, and then you'll have to add the clear to it, but man, this is much better than that other electric spray gun, and I see why everybody's getting decent results with the HVLP version. So for the ones that haven't seen it, this is the PHALANX gun. It's not too bad. I mean, like I said, I can dial it up pretty good. I'm getting the layout pretty well. So, all right. Well, one more coat of base and we should be ready to move on to clear. So let's keep going. Alright guys, so this is what I got for layout so far. It is not bad at all, honestly. I mean, I'm doing this outside. It is a little hot and humid, and you know, you're gonna have a little bit of trash and stuff doing it like that, but I mean, for an electric spray gun and everything, lays out pretty nice. Huh, not too bad. All right, let's give this some time to flash off, and then we'll see if we can clear this thing and see what kind of results we can get. All right, let's keep going. All right, guys, so I put a real pretty blue Nason base coat on it, and now we're moving over into clear. I'm using Finish One Clear today. This is the FC720 clear. I use it for all my spray outs, projects, whatever else. I'm going to do 2 medium consistent coats on this thing, and then we're going to let it set up. We'll come take a look at it, see what the final results are, and we'll discuss what you can be expecting when you decide to spray with an electric spray gun and take something like this full scale. Alright guys, so the PHALANX electric HVLP spray gun. Now, did I get good results with this? Yeah, I got great results actually. I obviously could use a little cut and buff, but this thing looks like glass. It's got a little bit of trash in it, but I'm painting out in a dusty old shop. It's about 85 degrees today, about 80% humidity, but hey, I got through it. It laid out pretty good, and yeah, that's more than acceptable. A few things I want to mention with this electric spray gun though, guys. I want to give you guys a real review of this. Now, I could have just shown you these results, said go out and purchase one. It's great, look at what I can do, but that's not the reality of it. Honest, it took me a lot of messing around with this gun to get really, really good results. And, you know, this is a hood, so I was able to actually lay it on a lot thicker. Now, if you're spraying out of side and everything else, then you will have to adjust accordingly. So I don't want to say that the results are misleading, but, you know, it does take a lot of practice to get to this point, and obviously, I've painted before. A couple of things to note about these electric spray guns. If you decide to go with one of these instead of going with your traditional HVLP with a compressor setup, these things have motors in them, guys, and when they get hot, I don't know if you saw on camera, but they will start to pulse. And when they start to pulse, that is no good. So you definitely want to give this ample time when it starts getting hot to cool down. That is one downside to trying to do this like full scale and do a full-on paint job. If you try to do a car and it's really hot outside or whatever, these motors will overheat. Another thing is, make sure you take these apart and clean them really good. The trigger mechanism on them are actually fairly decent, and most of these electric spray guns are somewhat designed the same way to a certain extent. So what I'm saying with this gun applies to pretty much every electric spray gun. You got your tips right here. These will get stopped up, guys, and it comes with a little piece to where you can actually fish through it and make sure you don't get anything. Another thing is the cup piece on these things. Where it seals around, you will get paint build up in there. And you also got this little flapper right here that actually sits in there, and then this is your little nozzle that actually sits down on the cup. Well, it actually has a section right here where it sits in, guys, and paint will get trapped in right here too. So as far as putting everything back together, you got the little cap right here. This seals off the paint cup, and you got this little downspout right here. This is the siphon tube that actually picks up your paint. That little section right there, I don't know if you can see it, but it indents. So you have to make sure you clean that out really good. And then you can pop this in. This is directional, so it will turn depending on however you want it. Obviously your paint cup screws back in. Like I said, make sure you clean out the threaded area, because what happens is when you take these cup sections off and then you change out from base coat to clear to primer, whatever you change, it will build up around there, and as you're screwing the cup in, it will flake off, it will get down in your siphon system, and it will end up in your paint job, and you don't want that. So just something to note with these electric spray guns. Like I said, one, they do tend to overheat. So be mindful of that. You will have to adjust them and play with them to get the right spray pattern. I do like this one right here. As far as having all the dials and all the adjustments and having enough power to spray and everything like that, this gun definitely has it. But like I said, like all spray guns with a motor, it's going to overheat, you know, so just be mindful of that. And clean everything really, really good, guys. So as far as putting this tip back in, you know, this little tip has a groove. It just kind of sits in there. And then you got this little section right here. This little section can turn. And then you got the screw section where it screws all back together. Obviously, you can adjust it at the very end of the thread. Tighten this really good. Spray some acetone through it. That's what I use to clean all my stuff, guys, because the acetone evaporates quickly. And yeah, then you're back together. You're ready to go for your next paint job. But like I said, with electric spray guns, guys, it's got some advantages to traditional HVLP setups with the air hose and everything else, but it has some disadvantages too. The advantage is, like I said, you know, you get the convenience of just paying for this, bringing it here, dumping your paint in, making sure it's thinned out properly, adjust your settings, and you can do a paint job with it. But be mindful of the overheating, be mindful of keeping it clean, guys, because this thing spits out paint, it spits out air, and these little pumps, any little bit of trash, it will dump it, and it will dump it in your paint job. So that's what I'm going to say for this. You know, I've seen a lot of other YouTubers do reviews with automotive paint on stuff like this. They show you the perfect results, but you can't get great results. I mean, I've got good results with this. But, you know, like I said, just be mindful of what you're getting yourself into, especially if you're doing this in your backyard. You don't have a paint booth or a controlled environment of some sorts. And like I said, like anything else, guys, paint jobs is 90% prep. Paint jobs are 90% prep, and you got to make sure you maintain your equipment. So, all right, guys, well, that's going to be it for me today. I hope you found this informative. And yeah. Alright guys, so if you like what you saw today, then definitely consider hitting that subscribe button. Ring that bell notification below so you don't miss an episode. We're all the time doing product reviews like this, showing you guys budget ways, cheaper, easier ways to get paint jobs. But I always try to have a realistic approach to this. I always try to explain things to you. I'm not just trying to sell you a product or just sell you how good I can do paint jobs. I want to give you guys a full breakdown, real world experience with this, and let you guys know what you're in for ahead of time before you start going out and just spending money on things. And if you like that, guys, I'm your guy. Hit your subscribe button, ring that bell notification, leave me a quick like and comment. Let me know what you thought of this paint job, what you think of the spray gun, and just what are your overall thoughts of painting in general with cheap stuff and your experiences, guys. If you decide you want to pick up one of these PHALANX spray guns, I will have links in the description so you can check it out and pick up one for yourself and do some crazy tests like this, or paint jobs if you want to get into it. But I appreciate you guys for watching today. I'm John from WHITLEY Auto Works. Hope you guys have a great day. God bless, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.